if the bond weren't successful, do you intend to come back to the school building authority and ask for a new school at Sand Fork and Troy?
If the bond is not successful, what we had in mind, I think, was using the bond to get the second school if we possibly could.
If the bond is not successful?
If the bond's not successful, we're just gonna have to stack them all in the high school and Level Elementary is the only thing we got left to do.
Now, you say all of them, with the exception of Normantown. You would have.
No, I said all the schools.
Yeah,
So you
Normantown is exception for 2 years. We have a 2-year
Yeah, that's all.
approval to keep them in trailers at this time through the state.
Well, but your request is of a new school for Normantown.
Yes, sir.
Should we approve that, you'd have a new school.
Yes, sir.
For the children in Normantown, then you would stack all the Sand Fork and Troy kids at a school in Glenville, is that correct?
That's-
Well, right now, that's the only solution that we have. Keep in mind, I've only been on the board 2 years, and that is exactly what I came on the board for, was to get new school buildings for the children.
Well, aren't
I
the
think you're quite
citizens there
aware of that.
aware of this? I mean, it isn't like it just happened yesterday. I mean, aren't they concerned?
Sand Fork and Troy just happened, what you said yesterday. We've been since 2006 with the Normantown. And we took in what we were told, instead of putting money into an old school, we should go and put money into a new school if we possibly could, and that's what we went with.
Regardless of the timing, Ms. Starkey, I would think, regardless of the timing, that what we're facing here is pretty serious. It appears that Sand Fork and Troy may have similar problems. At the time we discussed this last year, we weren't aware, the authority wasn't aware. Just as a couple of years before that, we weren't aware there were major problems with Normantown. But now that we are aware of the issues that the entire county is facing, I think it's incumbent upon you to at least give us some thoughts as to how you intend to address all of the issues, not just the Normantown issue, which you're proposing now.
I thought I just did. We were going for Normantown, then we would use a bond and whatever we could to get another school. In fact, it's also been mentioned that we build a new high school and put the elementary schools into the now existing high school. But to me, that would be putting children into a building that's already 50 years old, and to me, that wouldn't work. So we're going to have to go with a bond of some type. Now, I can't tell you what the people in Gilmer County would do. I can tell you what they've done in the past, and that is they have never, except in 1955, passed a bond. They
But
didn't have it. I can't.
a lot of this discussion hinges on the success of a bond.
Yes.
You've already referred to it on several occasions. You haven't addressed the issues should the bond not be successful. Given the past history of Gilmer County not supporting a bond, I think we must discuss the possibility of them not supporting the bond. Then what would you do? Would you come back next year to the school building authority and ask the school building authority, after we fund it, if indeed, and the authority hasn't made that decision, but if indeed we fund Normantown, then I would assume, in the absence of a bond, you would come back next year and ask for funding for a new school in Sand Fork. Is that correct?
Not in Sand Fork, no.
Or for Troy.
I want another school between Glenville and Sand Fork.
So then you would ask for funding this year, should we support this? Then it's safe to say you'd come back next year, then ask for a second school in Gilmer County to address the needs of Sand Fork and Troy as those schools continue to deteriorate. Is that correct?
Well, the whole point is here, I think there's little other choice for us to do what we have to do.
One choice is to discuss, I guess, this whole thing now.
Because of the maintenance of the schools in the past, I've not been on the board, I didn't see to the maintenance of the schools in the past. I can only say for the last 2 years that I have rigorously asked for the maintenance of the schools to be done. And whether it's done or not, that's all I can do. There's nothing else that I can do. I'm saying to you, we will try to pass a bond to get us what we need in Gilmer County. Gilmer County's always passed a levy. Gilmer County's always taken care of their children. They always have in education. But they also want their community schools. And we have to consider that we are going to get some flack on the community schools, because I'm a strong believer in small schools. I mean, that's what children do best. We don't have any new buildings, I grant you all that. We don't have any new buildings. But we don't have a low-performing school in our county, and we're sitting in old buildings.
Well,
We don't have any low-performing schools.
But these children are in danger every day they're in those
I don't know that because we haven't got a structural report yet. I mean, you may say
Anticipated, I
that, but I
anticipated.
can't say that.
I guess the point that I think Dr. Manchin was trying to make is, why are we putting a plan together to address the needs of all the students, not just Normantown? If you're gonna pass a bond, you're gonna pass a bond for 2 elementary schools, Normantown or wherever you wanna put the other one. Well, hopefully maybe we'll get some funding from SBA to take to the folks, the voters, and say, if we pass 2 schools, we're gonna get money for you're only paying for, you're gonna vote for 2 schools, but you're only pay for 1.
If you would tell me that I'm going to get money for both schools, I'll be glad to do that.
But we have to come up with part of, we
But I'm
have to as a
saying,
county.
if
Well, you
Well,
have,
say
but you
sure,
gotta
I'll
come,
get
you have
to
to
you.
come with a plan that says that we're asking the SBA that, we're gonna go to the voters for a bond,
We put in,
and we're asking the SBA for X amount of dollars to take to the voters, to, as part of the, total program that meets the needs of our students. Right now, what I see is you're asking for a school from Normantown, and then, we're gonna go to the voters, and I still think that doesn't have a chance to pass, because I don't think your voters will pass for a bond after they get the Normantown school. Those folks will not vote for a bond and take care of the other end of the county.
I assure you that Sanford and Troy will.
But everybody votes, not just Sanford.
Well, Normantown will too, they will not. You're,
Two questions. Do you have any idea why, I think I heard you say that they had not passed a bond in Gilmer County since 1955.
I guess
Do you have any idea, why, they have not passed another bond? And also, you indicated, earlier, you made some comment about the maintenance people. How many maintenance people do you have in Gilmer County?
We have 1 maintenance person.
Thank you
But
very
he
much.
also has.
First question, please.
He also has, the board has gave him permission to get any contractor in which to help him that he needs. In other words, if he has a problem that he can't handle, he can go out and get a contractor to help him.
And what about the bond? Do you have any idea overall why the bond has not been passed since 1955 in your county?
I would say possibly because we one time had 5 high schools and they took out 5 high schools into 1 high school. So you see, we have been consolidating over the years. We once had 5 high schools. And now we've got 1 high school, which houses 7 through 12. So, we have consolidated in the past.
President
And I
Cook,
think that might be your problem.
President Cook, in 1988, they closed Tanner at the other end of the county, so that's been an issue. That was an elementary former high school also, so Normantown, Troy, and Sanford are all former high schools. And the board and I believe the majority of the community is still wanting those communities to stay in schools that way, so the majority of the board.
Let me ask, Ed, some questions of the site. Indeed, we're looking at a site, is that correct?
We've been in discussion with the property owner. There's a small acreage that we have to maybe do an eminent domain on a small piece, but I'm not sure on that yet. We're in negotiations.
Regardless, there's going to be cost involved.
Absolutely.
Do you have some idea of what you anticipate, and have you budgeted an amount of money to purchase the site?
Yeah, we just, go ahead and start.
We just, in the past 2 weeks, have decided on the site. We will, the state, Mr. Shriver and Scott Raines came over and they decided on what best site that we thought that we could use. And they situated about a month ago, I think it was, on one site, and that was the site that we chose to go along with. Bill Ellsworth said he went along with that too. So we had that site chosen. After we went through the state and Scott came up, he's excellent at what he does, and he came up and helped us decide, and we had 10 sites that we looked at, 10 sites that were surveyed.
Do you have some sense, Ms. Starkey, as to what the cost is going to be involved?
The people said, to start with, I was there the first time. Mrs. Pritt has been talking to them recently, but at that time, there was a big stone house on the property, and they wanted $220,000 for it and said